Hello, and welcome back to episode number 3.
We're so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we are. All right, so we're still on Cloud 9 right now.
Yeah. Do you want to explain why?
Our first episode just launched. We've been figuring this out. We're excited to later talk about how to podcast. It's been a learning curve for sure, but it's been fun,
It's
too.
been fun. A little frustrating at times. Honestly, it was so helpful doing it with you, though.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you.
No, I know. Because if I was doing this by myself, I would be way, way more frustrated. But I feel like we were feeding off of each other's good energy, so it was fine.
Yes.
But it was
Well,
hard.
we're really proud of ourselves.
Oh my gosh, I'm so okay, yeah, so I guess wait, we should say we posted the first episode first just to make sure we had figured out all the tech side of things, because that has been the biggest learning curve, I think.
Yes.
We know what we want to talk about, but actually figuring out how to implement this has been so much work.
Yes.
So, but we're freaking out because we posted it on Spotify. We got the link. If you search Motivated for More, it pops up. And we were listening to ourselves off of our phones.
Yes, it's pretty cool. And we got an Instagram too.
Yeah.
But when I say we're excited about all these tech things too, we're now figuring out how to update the stuff. So as you've seen, our background has changed. You'll see it'll change probably a little bit more.
Probably.
But it's just been fun to do that and then figure out the mics and everything. So yeah.
We're glad we finally made it.
Yes, honestly. Well, anyways, the purpose of this podcast is kind of just to get to know us more, but also the background on why we came about Motivated for More, what it is, our history, and just to get to know us more. So for you listeners, just to see who you're listening into every other Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, Brooke, do you want to start us off?
Sure.
Kind of your background and the podcast, who you are as a person too, for why we came around with this, and how Motivated for More just aligns with you as yourself as a person.
Yeah. Okay. So I have always known I wanted to be a teacher since I was young. So I just feel like the idea of just always learning and just discussing with people about growing has just always been something really important to me. I'm a high school math teacher, so obviously with content, but also especially when it comes to faith. Yeah, I'm just kind of I kind of joke, I hope nobody takes offense to this, but I think all teachers are dorks because we just nerd out about stuff, right? So I'm a very curious person, and I just love doing things. And I also, I feel like a common theme in my life has been, I like to try things that I'm not quite sure I can do. If I'm not quite sure I can do something, then I want to do it even more. But it depends. I'm positive I could never skydive. I have no desire to skydive. Okay,
Same.
no. But when it comes to in college, I was I've always enjoyed running, and then it was I kind of want to run a half marathon, but I was I'm not sure if I can do it. That motivated me to I ran 2 in college. So anyway, I just inherently really enjoy learning. I like challenging myself. So that's just kind of a common theme outside of my career. So going with my career, though, so I love teaching. Next year will be my 5th year as a high school math teacher.
That is crazy.
Which is crazy.
5th year?
Yes. But so one thing I've noticed, though, as much as I totally love my job, but if you are in the field of education, it is just an all-consuming job. A lot of jobs are like that, right? So it was just, I've noticed it's been really important for me to have identities outside of being a teacher. So when and we'll kind of come back to this, but when, you were oh my gosh, I kind of want to do a podcast, but we were I kind of want to do it with somebody. I feel one, I wanted to do it because I was I'm not sure if I could do a podcast. Okay, well, that's going to make me motivated to try it even more. And then 2, oh, wait, where was I going with this? I totally forgot.
With just you were talking about the podcast and what inspires you, yes.
And then it's something outside of education that still aligns with everything that I enjoy about teaching.
Giving you something else to do.
Yes,
and
but
talk
it's
about.
still the same gifts that make me a good teacher, I think are going to be the same things that help me do well with, I don't know, just leading a podcast.
Yeah.
Or even just the learning curve with the tech side, right? I like learning, so that's not a huge barrier for me. Whereas for some people, having to figure out, I think we're on what is this technically? We just started with Riverside. I think this is our 3rd platform we're trying out.
Yes.
So even just that, for example. And then sorry, this is kind of long, but then another thing. So then I also, weirdly enough, I am a very entrepreneurial, is that the, wait, how do you say that?
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, okay, so I said that right. Person, but I'm a teacher. So as a high school math teacher, I don't get to use that much. So I remember, because I think we need to talk about how we started walking together as friends. That was kind of like our post-grad, like, hangout. Like, instead of being, like, I feel like in college, we'd, like, go get B School, which, if you went to SLU, was basically, like, the best, like, salad and sandwich and wrap place on campus.
Oh, yeah.
So we would go there and chat. And then post-grad, it was like, okay, let's meet for a walk. And I feel like we totally clicked because we are very creative and have that entrepreneurial mindset. And so what's funny is, and I think it shocked you at first, most people, not everybody knows that about me. And then once they find that out about me, they're kind of like, oh, just kind of surprised because that has nothing to do with,
because you think education, not like business in a way.
No, but like,
yeah.
I love side hustles. You know, like I just love being creative and acting on it and just trying new things. So that's kind of what started about a year ago. And I think this is why I have like the desire to do the podcast. I started my own girls ministry. So I have something called High Lovely, where I basically encourage girls just to like pray and read their Bibles every day and just kind of give practical and applicable advice for how to be a Christian girl in 2025. Because it's not as easy as it was when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So anyway, that kind of all has just been a whirlwind of just trying out new, different, I just call them side hustles. And that's kind of what led me to Motivated for More.
Yeah, isn't it crazy, the story for your side?
Yeah. Okay, what about you?
Well, for one, I would say it's a couple things. You got me going and thinking. I just remember junior year of college, my roommates and I would just talk about things, talk about life, talk about ideas. And it was just 3 other girls, myself, so 4 of us just talking. I was like, oh, we should start a podcast. And this was 2019 into 2020. And then we also talked about, like, I want to say probably a little bit in 2020, 2021. And that's when, like, podcasts started first, like, coming out more and more and more. I was like, I should start a podcast. It was always something that I, like, set in the back, but I never was like, that'd be great, but, like, where does one start? At the same time, so that was like where the idea came for a podcast. But for me as a person, I've always been someone who's like open-minded. Like the world has a lot available. Like I always did a lot of clubs. I always did all the sports. I've always been involved in a lot of activities. Like I didn't know like how you knew you wanted to become a teacher. I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what that was. So I've always just been like down to try it all, down to do it all. And I'm like, what else is out there? So I would say I'm just motivated to do a lot of things. And like I follow like checklists, but I'm also like I get inspired so easily by other people. Where you and I clicked, like you'll say something that fed off me, and the whole thing with the podcast, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I feel like I have some ideas I want to share. I learn things. I'm like I just want to share this with other people. And for me, I'm in the business world. And I'm able to share a lot with people, but I'm like, how can I get my voice out there more, where I can like inspire people too, and like also learn at the same time. So I would say a lot of it came from that, where I'm open to doing a lot of things. At the same time, I've always just wanted to do a podcast. I just didn't know how. And like, honestly, I would not have done it without you. Like, it's so much fun doing it with a friend. Like, we help each other out.
It's
like,
just less scary.
Yes. And like, we can feed off each other. Like, having another brain just is so helpful. And like, you and I have different strengths in that area where like, you're good at this versus I'm good at this. And I think that really helps out too.
Well, and I think what's so funny is like we have like the perfect, I feel like for a podcast, like the perfect mesh of different strengths and different weaknesses. And then also like we have really similar values, which makes the podcast content work. But we have 2 totally different like life experiences.
Yes.
Or not totally different.
Yeah,
right?
like very different. Like, yes.
Still Christian background, but like we live 2 totally different lives during the week. Like it's just so funny. You were like, oh yeah, I had a 30-minute work call today, and girl, it's a Saturday. Like I don't have that at all.
Yes.
Whereas we just have 2 totally different like work weeks and like experiences for like our 40 hours a week. And so I think that kind of is cool how we can like be super on the same page and talk about the same stuff on the podcast and stuff, but have 2 different ways we walk it out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, I agree with that. And like I would say for the podcast name itself, we were just talking about that. Like, how did we get to here? I know it was like Bibles and something, or Lindsay and Brooke,
like
or Brooke.
Brunette Bible girls. Or something.
Like
we knew we wanted alliteration.
Yes. And then I was like, what else are we going for? I forget how we decided not to have our names in it, just have something different. And then I was like, okay, what are we? And I'm like, we're just 2 motivated people. And then I was like, okay, motivated. And it was like, okay, motivated, what does that go with? I want to say it was just like we were having a conversation, all of a sudden just Motivated for More just came out. And then we're
I
like,
think
that's
we
a
literally
name.
said it in a sentence, and
Yeah.
then we were like, oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
And there we go. So that's what we're here for. And like, we're excited to just like motivate other people, inspire other people, share our stories, share backgrounds, and like appeal to different people.
Yeah.
At the same time, like have that Christian standpoint. Like I grew up and I am Catholic, and you're like grew up pretty much non-denominational
Yes.
Christian, but like you've had we've all different faith backgrounds too at the same time. So yeah.
Well, and I think another thing that makes us kind of going back to like how we're always on the same page. I'm an Enneagram type 3, and I know you are as well.
Yes.
And so I think that also a lot of people, I would imagine, who like you don't have to be an Enneagram type 3, but I would imagine a lot of people who might listen to this can relate to that, because type 3 is like, I read in a book one time, was like the need to succeed. And so we're just naturally like really motivated people to like tackle new tasks, be goal oriented, love a good to-do list. And
Love
so,
a good to-do list.
Love
A planner, checking off. But at the same time, like I'm excited to hopefully like talk about this more on like a future podcast, like Enneagrams or even personalities, but also like how our Enneagram helps us, but also is a challenge for us, like how to like turn it off.
Yeah, because sometimes it's I always think like my greatest strength is also my greatest weakness at the same time. So knowing how to channel it for good and not for bad, that I can be so goal oriented.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, anyways, Brooke, do you want to share more about like who you are, or else anything else for like the listeners as we get into the next couple episodes coming in?
Yeah. Okay, I guess what I'll go from really basic. I'm just gonna kind of go on a mini rant.
Yeah.
I'll go from basic to like any random and I guess specific details. I'm 25. I'm gonna be 26. I've always lived in St. Louis. So I love St. Louis. I love gooey butter cake and I love emos. I love gooey butter cake ice cream too. That like just kicks it up a notch.
I had that for the first time like a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh. Was it Jenny's or was it Clementine's?
Clementine's.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It literally, you feel like you're gonna die after though, because like, so like if you aren't in St. Louis, you might like think of like maybe like brownie batter ice cream or like cake batter ice cream. That might be something.
Cake batter.
So like, you know how like it's just so sweet, and then it's an ice cream, so it's like almost too much. Well, that's heightened when it's gooey butter cake, because gooey butter cake is literally, it's gooey butter cake. And then
she loves sweets, everybody.
I do. Oh, so it's just so good. Okay, so yeah, St. Louis, love St. Louis. Thought I was gonna be a first grade teacher. Have I ever told you that?
Maybe.
I kind of just forget about it at this point. So long story short, when I was in high school, I always thought I was gonna be a first grade teacher, because I always have loved kids. Like I just love, they just say the cutest things. They're just so funny. And so I always thought I was gonna be a first grade teacher. And then, so the high school I went to had this thing set up on Thursday mornings where for 2 hours a day, it was like Thursday mornings, we'd go and we'd like volunteer for service hours somewhere. So I volunteered in a first grade classroom, and I thought it was going to be like, yes, this is like where I'm going to realize like my calling is to be a first grade teacher. I'm going to teach them the difference between a dime and a penny, and you know how to like write their name and tie their shoe. Oh my gosh, when I tell you I left after 2 hours and I was like exhausted, it was crazy. Just because, I don't know, I found it so draining, because you have to like, it's almost like you have to teach them and be their like babysitter at the exact same time. So I just like could not do that. So anyway, all the respect for elementary teachers and anybody like that. So then I realized I wanted to be a high school teacher, kind of got into that. So I teach back at the high school that I went to, which is really cool. I really like doing that. A lot of people ask, is it weird? No, it's not. It was maybe a little weird at first, but then you just get used to it. And anything else? I've been married for 2.5 years. Danny and I have been in our house for like 1.5 years. And I'm obsessed with anything Disney.
Yeah. Anything you like to do in your free time? Like your free time stuff?
I do have a sourdough starter. So I'm on the sourdough train, as most people are, or as a lot of people are. I'm definitely not as good at it as other people, but I really enjoy my sourdough starter. I love baking. I like running. A lot of times I don't have a ton of hobbies because I have my side hustles. Like I have Hi Lovely. I'm getting my master's too in math education and with the podcast. So that's kind of like I always like have.
Excited to talk about some time management stuff too in the future.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yes.
No, literally it's so necessary, because like I just feel like I'm really in a season of like hustling, because during this work week I have like a daily to-do list for all my school stuff, right? So, like, okay, I'm going to do my stuff for, you know, my students Monday through Friday. But then every weekend I have, like, a to-do list for either grad school, or it is a combination of grad school, podcast, and then high lovely stuff. So I wear a lot of different hats, but I kind of love it. Like, I thrive off of
Busyness,
but not necessarily. Okay, this is what's funny. I don't think I thrive off of busyness. I thrive off of, like, having things to do. Because when I'm really busy, I will get overwhelmed. So I thrive off of, I have to have free time. So, like, every weekend I still have to have time where I, like, literally do nothing. Like, I will just waste time and, like, just watch a movie. You know, or not that that's wasteful, but I have to have
I think it's good for
downtime.
also people to hear. Like, you still have downtime.
I have to make downtime, and I will sacrifice not getting something done to have downtime. Because I have to. But I also, like, I'm weird. I have to have downtime. But I can't actually relax unless I know I have something to do later. Most people are the opposite. So, like, my husband, he can't truly relax until his to-do list is done. I freak out if I don't have a to-do list. It's really weird.
Yes,
like,
I see.
I have to always have something to work on.
Like, for example, you can watch a Netflix show, but you can't watch that Netflix show until you have your to-do list you're going to do after, or like the next day or something like that. And you know what's written there, and then at least you can go back to it. So you've relaxed, but you can go back to your list. Is that what you're saying? I do that.
Kind of, yeah. So. Just because I like, yes, because I usually want to relax so that I have energy to do the stuff that I want to do. But I think I just love creating things at the very, like, that is, like, I think the best way to summarize it. Like, that's why I like baking. That's why I like teaching, because of lesson planning. That's why I like my side hustle, because with High Lovely, I can create whatever devotion, you know, video class I want. That's why I like the podcast. Like, the way I get enjoyment and fulfillment out of achieving things is through creating a product. Whether it's a lesson plan, a podcast, So that kind of took me a while to figure out, like, why do I like being busy? No, I don't like being busy. The way I like to spend my time is by creating a product. So that's why I can't sit and watch TV for, like, 4 hours a day, because I don't have an end result after.
It's just something temporary.
Now, if I watch a movie while doing the laundry, I get a little more fulfillment out of it. Isn't that weird? Like, so then.
Oh, yes, I do that. Like, I'll listen to a podcast while I do laundry. Totally. But if I don't, like, if I'm not listening to a podcast while doing laundry, I was doing this morning. And I was so slow until I put my headphones in. So, like, if I'm on the phone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's so funny.
Well, I was thinking we were more alike when I said that, but maybe that might just be me.
No,
I took the shine from you. But.
No, that makes sense. No, I mean, that was pretty much just, like, I just, like doing things that has an end product or result.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's more who you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were able to break that down more here. So.
Yeah. No, I know. That was actually really helpful. Yeah. Well, and it's just fun because those are things that, like, I've definitely noticed about myself, especially, like, I don't know if you can attest to this, but, like, you know, I'm going to be 26 in April. And I feel like each year, I mean, I guess this is just like a duh, Brooke, but, like, each year I learn so much more about myself.
Oh, same.
I feel like, especially because, like, I haven't really changed too much. It's more just, like, I'm more aware of how I am and how I'm wired.
I think it comes with adulthood.
I think it does.
My guess.
I think it does.
For those who are younger than us.
Something in your 20s.
You figure it out. Yes,
No,
it is your 20s, though.
It's in your 20s.
Because when you're in your teens, I don't remember feeling this way.
No. But what's so funny is, though, like when sometimes I actually, because I have learned so much about myself and I can use that to help me, like, just manage emotions and life and anxiety and stuff. I now actually, because I have a lot of students who will, like, come and share things with me and just ask for advice. And it's funny because I sometimes actually now have a hard time just relating or helping with them. And I always try to give them any advice I can. But sometimes it's hard because I just don't think you can be super self-aware in high school yet. Because that's really what I feel like you develop in your 20s. It's a self-awareness.
And you're figuring that out. I feel like in high school you're so focused on where do I go to college? Or if I'm going to college, what college am I going to? And everyone's always asking, like, what are you majoring in? You're like, I don't know.
For
like,
sure.
I
but also, you
no
don't
idea.
need to know, though.
Exactly.
And, like, do you need to be self-aware? Probably not, because you're still growing into the person you're going to be.
Yes.
You know? So it just is nice. Yeah, like, you know, there's hope. On the other side of things, when you can be a little more just aware of who you are and how you're wired, like that helps so much, I feel like.
Yes, yeah. And if you even think about this podcast, like for me, I like was like, oh, it'd be fun to do a podcast at 21. So now I'm 26 and we're like implementing it. And like it was an idea I said, but like did I think I'd go through with it? But like we kind of figure out more what we like and what we want to do as we've gotten older. And we'll like we figure out our priorities. So yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, but do you want to share about any other things about you that we should know about?
Well, I'm born and raised St. Louis. I think we probably covered that on the first episode. I don't remember. But born and raised St. Louis, love St. Louis. My family's very background in St. Louis, so like obsessed with my city. I majored in finance and economics, and I did not know that I was going to major in finance and economics. I actually like originally was nursing. Then
Were you really?
Yeah. I like every single college I applied to, it was nursing.
You would be a good nurse, though, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I want to do it because the reason
I had no
why
idea.
wow, I didn't never share that with you.
Or I just forgot because it's so far from where you are now.
That's very true. Very, very true. Well, the reason why is my mom was a nurse, and same with like some of my extended family, and my grandparents when they've been sick or something else. Like my mom is a nurse, she's been able to like figure that stuff out. I'm like, that is so helpful, and I just want to help people.
Yeah.
So like I just was like, oh, becoming a nurse, I'd be able to help people. Then I realized I don't like blood. So
that'll make you switch gears real quick.
Yes, but then I was like, okay, what's next? I was like, business, which I applied to colleges with going to their nursing schools, but I also made sure they had good business schools too. So like in the back of my mind, I knew I'd be switching to business. Then I was like everything for the first 2 years of college. And then I was accounting and accounting and econ.
Wait, so what do you mean everything? Like, did you take nursing classes and business at the same
No,
time?
I switched away from nursing, like during orientation.
Okay, I was just curious if you took like anatomy or anything like scary. I don't know. I think those are all scary because I can't do science.
Good for you people who are the nursing and the medical field. Like, we need those people in the world, but like that is not my strength. But no, I took a lot of like business, like gen ed class, like the business core classes, and that helped me figure out like. So originally I was accounting and econ. I really, really loved econ, and I thought like accounting. Then I realized accounting was not my strength. So then I switched to finance, and then I thought I was like designed to sit because of that major. I was thinking I'd be behind a desk like all day and like working and crunching numbers and not working with people. And then like through like work experiences, talking to people and stuff like that, I learned that I like need to be talking to people all the time, need to be working with a team. So now I'm like in like management, marketing, and sales. And like I talk to people all the time. I'm up and at them. I'm at my desk a lot. Yes, but like I move around. I talk to people all the time. And I absolutely love that. But it took me a while to figure that out. In my free time, I also work on side hustles. I get inspired by a lot of things. I'm currently home shopping looking for a house is like the proper phrase you could say. I'm focused on a lot of fitness stuff this year. I like to do all, people call them self-help, but like I like personal growth type stuff. So I read like a lot of books in that. I'm also involved as a youth leader at my church, and got a variety of like friend groups in St. Louis. So like
we need to talk about time management because I don't know how you do all that either.
Well, like I think it goes all under this whole podcast thing. Is I like to do a lot of things, but I also like a lot of it goes down to like helping people or being around people or getting inspired or just like how to navigate your 20s and like figuring out the friend groups and the people you like to be around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In 2025, I'm more focused on like what fills my cup, which I'll talk about probably on a future episode. But that's more about me. I do a little bit of, I'm not as good of a baker as you are. I like to bake brownies. I do not like chocolate, though. I do not like chocolate.
Wait, do you like brownies, though?
No.
Wait, so why do you bake brownies?
Because it was always the thing. I started like in high school, it was like when you go somewhere, like to bring something. So like I just bring brownies and people are like, I like your brownies. I'm like, cool.
Like, okay, are we talking like boxed brownies or are we talking like homemade?
It's a mix of both. I'll do box, but then I'll add my
What do you add to them? Is this a secret or can we share it on the podcast?
It's a little bit more water, a little bit more oil, a couple more eggs. Nothing too crazy. Okay, chocolate chips.
I actually have a recipe. I just got it off Instagram. But so if you take a box mix and instead of adding water, you add that amount of coffee.
Oh.
So like let's say it's 1 cup water. You ditch that. You add 1 cup of coffee. It doesn't taste like coffee in the brownies. It amplifies the chocolate. Okay. And then instead of putting in oil, you put in I can't remember if it's equal amounts or just a couple like tablespoons of butter. So instead of the oil, you use butter.
Yeah.
And then you add chocolate chips.
People like the chocolate chips. It's just nothing crazy.
It does so much though. But yeah,
like the chocolate chips
with the measurements. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
I'm
a good life hack.
I'm not a scratch baker though. I'd like to be.
I made homemade brownies one time with, did you ever watch, I haven't watched this in forever. I should again. The Great British Baking Show.
No, I don't.
Do you know what it is on Netflix?
I don't think. No,
It's like the classic, like, oh my gosh. Okay, I think most people out there probably know what it is. It's the Great British Baking Show, and it's like a Netflix original, and it's just like it's exactly what it sounds. It's in London, or somewhere near. They have like this big tent in the middle of a field, and then it's just like a Food Network like baking competition.
Wow.
But they have to bake like random, like they'll have to bake like a Yule log cake too, so like very like traditional English stuff too. But okay, anyway, my point is they had this brownie recipe and I thought it was going to be amazing, so I went to all the work of making homemade scratch brownies, and then it just tasted like my other ones that I replaced the coffee and the butter with. So anyway, there's really no need.
Let's just talk about the craft. For those of you who are really good at that, great for you. I feel like that's something that I would be called for. Like, I want to get into cooking more and baking more, but I feel like that's in like the next 10, 20, maybe 30 years.
Maybe once you have a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And kids too.
Yes, yes.
So I don't know. I think that's more about, and I like Orange Theory. I like to do fitness stuff. I like to be outside. Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more about me. I feel like I might be missing something, but you know.
I'm sure the rest of it will come up as
Yes.
we kind of go route.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm trying to think, right before we end, we kind of skipped some of, just because this was more of an intro episode, we kind of skipped at the beginning, like what was a motivating moment for your week.
Yes.
Do we want to end, though, with maybe like what are you motivated for this week? By answering that?
I am motivated for what's to come. I would say the past couple weeks at the start of like 2025 have been like a little bit like of a slump. Just, you know, like everyone's got all these like vision boards and all these things. It took mine a while to really click in. So I'm just motivated for what's to come. I'm really excited about what's coming. I'm really excited about this podcast and like what else is out there, and like a couple other things I've got in the pipeline. So like that's what I'm motivated for. And just some like exciting, I've got some exciting like work stuff coming up too. So like I'm excited for
Your
that
2025 is starting off great.
Yes. How about you, Brooke?
Okay, this is something, no, this still relates. So long story short, this is kind of small, but it's kind of cute. So one of my favorite things about being on breaks as a teacher is that my husband and I go to bed at the same time. Because so normally he is very much a like go to bed at midnight, wake up at like 7 to 8 a.m. depending on his work day. Well, I am totally a morning person, okay? So Danny, my husband, is totally a night owl. I am totally a morning person. So when I am during the school year, I usually go to bed around 9:30, and then wake up at like 5:30 to 6, whether I want to work out in the morning or not. And so anyway, over break, though, I was like, man, like I really like, I don't know, it's just fun, like going to bed at the same time as him. And then, so anyway, he you know, because then we can like, we usually like watch an episode of like whatever we're watching before bed. So like usually recently it's been Survivor. Or we actually just recently finished watching all of the Batman trilogy movies. So fun. Okay, so anyway, as I was like getting a little sad that like Christmas break was going to be done, and then he was like, well, what if we try to compromise, and I'll go like come in instead of like coming in to go to bed around like midnight. He's like, what if like if we went to bed around 10:45, we watched like 30 minutes of TV, and then we went to bed at 11:15. And I was like, okay, but like I still like, even like I'm so slow getting ready in the mornings, so I still like have to wake up by like 6:15, 6:30. So anyway, if you do the math, it's still not as much sleep as I would like. I like getting 8-ish hours of sleep. This is more like 6.5, 7. But anyway, we have kind of altered our sleep schedules to kind of try to be more aligned. And we've gone to bed at the same time every single night for like the past couple weeks.
That's
or actually, it's just been like 1 week. But anyway, so that's just been really motivating for me. And then it was kind of nice because then he kind of got a little New Year's resolution too, because I was like, well, I like working out in the mornings before school. I'll only do this if, you know, now that I'm going to try to sleep in later, you have to work out with me after school. So we went to the gym together the other day. So I don't know. It was just
so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
That has just been... I'm motivated to try to make that work a little better, though, because, oh my gosh, though, I've been hitting these 8:30 p.m. slumps because I normally
like
would
exhausted?
be like, I'm exhausted now that I'm back in school. So anyway, I just have really
snow days to help
enjoyed
you
that.
out.
What?
You've had some snow days to help you out.
Yes. So, well, it's helped me out get more sleep, but then it kind of messed up the routine, you know? But anyway, that is just what I'm kind of motivated to hopefully still adjust to that sleep schedule, because it has been really sweet just to have more time with him and just kind of be on the same like routine.
Yeah, that's
So.
amazing. I would love to learn how you reset your sleep schedule. We can talk about that another time. I need to work on that. That's not on my goals for this week, but maybe it could be. So, yeah. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to y'all in a couple weeks.
Have a great week. Bye.